Hi, it's Danielle. This is my perfume journal where I document my love of perfume. So, my most worn lists are starting to sound a little bit like a broken record, but I think that is about to become my new normal as I continue to downsize my whole entire life and keep only the things that I truly love, not just perfumes. It is actually amazing to see how much stuff we accumulate over the years that's just stuff. Things that don't really hold a lot of meaning and therefore don't really make me feel compelled to hold on to them. And it's kind of freeing actually to think about getting rid of almost everything we own so that we can write the beginning of a whole new chapter of our lives. So I will continue to enjoy my perfumes while they are still with me, and I will be thinking hard about what will make the cut and eventually make the move with us. So here is the month of June. As far as my perfume tray from June goes, I wore almost everything on my tray. So the two that I did not wear were By White Night from Perfume del Forte. That one I think is officially going to go into the declutter pile. I haven't really been reaching for it. It was an impulsive vacation purchase. It's a lovely perfume. It's an airy, citrusy, musky floral, but there's just something about it that I haven't connected with. And I also surprisingly did not reach for Gavatella by Wit& West this month, which was really unfortunate because I love that dry, woody, botanical version of a citrusy scent. And so since this one is a 15 ml bottle, that one is definitely going to make it through the great downsize of 2026 and stay with me. But I did wear everything else. Okay, so first off, I finished up my sample of Rose from Bjork and Berries, and I firmly placed that perfume in the pass category, which is good. I do not need full bottle temptation right now. Rose is a pink floral with an earthy Nordic twist. I wore the lovely honeysuckle perfume that actually smells like neroli fresh and green spring dance from Juicebox. And everything else from my tray actually ended up on my most worn list this month. So I'm going to call that a perfume collector's win when you really get into and enjoy your own collection. One of my most worn perfumes this month came right off of my June tray, and it's Guess 1981. This is such a nice, easy, fresh, musky perfume. It has that triumvirate of those super harmonious notes of ambrette, jasmine, and cedarwood. So this is very much along the lines of perfumes like Ellis Brooklyn Myth, Luminous from La Perla, Calvin Klein Beauty. Luminous is the sweetest. Beauty is the woodiest, and the Guess 1981 perfume includes some violet and pear, so that amps up the freshness and gives it that like freshly washed hair kind of vibe without smelling like a literal bottle of shampoo. It is one of those perfumes that you can put on like 45 sprays of and it will be just right. And it is also super affordable. So it's one of those scents that you can have around for a good time, but not a long time. Once this is gone, it'll be gone. But I am so happy to have this easy reach for now. And I really enjoyed wearing this quite a bit this past month. Another favorite this month was my recently acquired bottle of Nina Ricci's Chant. Tammy introduced me to this one, sent me a sample, and then I added this bottle in a swap with Allie. And this is one of those perfumes that I totally slept on when it came out in 2018. What a mistake. I could have been enjoying this for the last 8 years. But starting this month, I am definitely making up for lost time. This is one of my favorite scent profiles. It is a sweet, musky floral. So what Chant does differently is that it adds an element of saltiness to the composition that I find so addictive and so enjoyable. I'm guessing that the saltiness comes from the ambergris note, but instead of being overwhelming in Chant, it gives the perfume a very light salted caramel kind of vibe. It's just the right amount. And the key floral in this perfume is Champaca, which is one of those apricot-y, peachy florals like osmanthus, but instead of feeling very honeyed, it feels lighter and airier. And Allie pointed out to me that osmanthus is sort of tea-like to her nose, and I would completely agree with that. So then you also have this lovely, sparkly ginger lemon combo in the opening, which actually, now that Allie says that osmanthus reminds her of tea a little bit, what is better than ginger, lemon, and tea? So really the whole composition just works. It's one of those perfumes you could wear year round, any occasion, never ever regret putting it on, a really good daily driver. And speaking of daily drivers, Brit EDT is on my most worn list yet again for June. I bought the 50 ml bottle, but now I'm thinking I should have gotten the 100 ml. I've gone on and on about Brit EDP and EDT enough on this channel. It's very much in that same family of perfumes like Chant, sweet, musky, floral, but here instead of lemon and ginger, you have a lime note at the top. And that is probably one of my favorite things about this perfume. It gives a tartness to the opening that does stick around, and it like peeks out from time to time from behind the curtains throughout the wear. There are two types of almond in this. There's bitter almond and sugared almond. So you have that yin and yang nuttiness that complement each other rather than work against one another. The flower here is peony, which in this composition I would describe as just generally floral smelling. You wouldn't necessarily smell this and say, oh, that's a peony perfume, because this is one of those perfumes where everything is just really well blended to give you a feeling rather than highlight particular notes. The sweetness comes from the pear and the vanilla. It's that same kind of sweetness that you get in Prada Paradoxe, but make it early 2000s instead of today. I love the EDP of this for fall and winter, and I think the EDT is just spectacular for spring and summer. I will never, ever, ever be without this perfume. I love it so much. It has been in my collection since it was released, and I know that it will remain a favorite of mine for decades to come. Another most worn perfume that was on my tray this month is Breathe Me from Michela Mezzetti. I just love this perfume, partly because it is attached to a special vacation memory, but also because it just smells good. The overall effect that you get from this perfume is an airy, sweet, fresh floral. The artistic or conceptual effect of this perfume is that you feel like you're riding on a Vespa through Tuscany. There's an Aperol spritz note, there's cypress note, wisteria, poppy, air, skin. So all of this comes together to create a feeling of a Tuscan holiday. And what I love most about this perfume is the combination of fresh air and sweet warmth. To me, that exudes everything that I love about Italy. Whether you are gripping the wheel of the car as you turn the bends on the Amalfi Coast and you look out over the cliffs, or you're riding on a quiet country road between the cypress trees, the fresh air quality just comes through in this perfume. And then the sweet warmth of the perfume to me represents the people, the culture, the sunshine. It's all present in equal parts. And I think that Michela Mezzetti has paid such a lovely homage to her home country in this perfume. But most of all, it just smells really good. And I hope you're sitting down because in a wildly shocking turn of events, my most worn perfume this month was Burberry Goddess. So I mentioned in my last video that I finally used up the 8 ml decant that I purchased from Fragrance Net, and I figured out that a decant of this size, sprayed 3 times per wear, will give you about 40 wears in total. But Jamie, if you are watching, I am going to work on my overspraying skills in the future. I promise you that. So I've been talking about Goddess a lot lately. Vanilla, lavender, accents of cocoa, and ginger. It is pure coziness, perfect for nighttime, and that is exactly when I have been wearing it. Okay, so this month I also want to share that I revisited some samples that I think are worth mentioning again. Both of them were introduced to me by my good friend Jill, so all credit to her and her good taste for these two perfumes. So the first is Meraki from Botanicae Expressions. So because I'm a light sprayer who keeps my perfume bubble kind of intimate, I really rarely receive compliments, but this perfume garnered more than one compliment. And even though I don't wear perfumes for compliments, it is definitely nice to be told that you smell good. So this is essentially a fruit chouli. It's sweet, but it is not overly sweet. It is strawberries, black currants, and figs as the fruit salad with some powdery floral touches and very much a strong patchouli vanilla base. You definitely have to be open to patchouli to enjoy this one. If you have ever smelled Miracle Muse from Miller Harris, it's very much in that family, a berry frutuli, and I think it's done really, really well, and I very much enjoyed wearing this one again. And then I also finished up my sample of Aqua Amantia from Le Couvent. Le Couvent is a brand that you really don't hear many people talking about, but if this is any indication, they have some really high quality perfumes at affordable prices when you can find them in stock. Now, Jill confirms that there are several from this brand that she loves, and I trust her nose. So I definitely want to check more out from Le Couvent. I can tell you myself that Aqua Amantia is excellent. It is a crisp, tart, refreshing scent with grapefruit, rhubarb, ambrette, and cedar, and it was perfumed by Jean-Claude Ellena. So one of my signature scents along my perfumed path is Jo Malone's Blackberry and Bay. And I would say that Aqua Amantia is very much in the neighborhood of Blackberry and Bay. However, where Blackberry and Bay leans more green, a little sharp, maybe even a little bit like peepee, Aqua Amantia feels like the softer, quieter, more airbrushed version of that kind of scent profile. So if you know Jean-Claude Ellena's work, you know that he is like the Monet of perfumery. He paints his fragrances with a watercolor brush, no harsh edges. Everything is always so well blended. And I think Aqua Amantia is just that. It is a refreshing, crisp scent that is also very soft around the edges. So I loved wearing both of these samples again. And if I were not downsizing my whole life, I would add both of these to my collection in a heartbeat. So every month I choose a perfume of the month and a sample of the month to write down in my journal. And this month I've chosen as my sample of the month, Gucci Guilty Love Edition. I was sniffing this in a Sephora one day, and this perfume has always caught my nose. So this time I actually gave myself a nice guilty love shower before I left the store. I love lilac. It is probably my favorite scented flower because it holds so many childhood memories for me. And I have yet to find a lilac perfume that I haven't really enjoyed. So this is a different spin on lilac, where a lot of lilac perfumes I have tried are dewy and watery and fresh and springy. Guilty Love is a deeper take on lilac with like a big dose of patchouli and amber. And you would think that the heavier accords would like drown out the lilac, but they really don't. They just let you see the lilac, smell the lilac in a new light. Like in Grease, when Sandy decides to abandon her girl next door look and go full pink lady, Guilty Love is like when lilac joined the pink ladies. So I had to come back and do a little voice recording here because I realized I recorded this whole video and never talked about my perfume of the month. So of course it has to be Chant. I love this sweet, salty, floral, musky, beautiful perfume, and I can see this being in frequent rotation, especially as I begin the great downsize of 2026. So highlights this month definitely include my swap with Allie, and another really fun sniff along for June. We smelled 5 squeaky clean perfumes. All perfumes had something clean, something soapy, something laundry-like about them in some capacity. So the video about all 5 of those perfumes will be coming up soon. I really appreciate being able to chat perfumes face to face with other people who share the same interest, since my real life family and friends do not think about perfume 24/7 like I do. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for spending your time here with me, and thanks for chatting perfumes with me in the comments. I hope you have a really great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.